Could you just tell me what's the first thing that comes into your mind when I say Argentinian tango?
Sex.
Strictly Come Dancing.
Red, the colour red.
The first word is Maradona.
I think of passion, action, all action dancing.
Exotic. Nice beach.
I suppose a man and a woman, and the woman's usually embraced around the man's neck. It's quite a close hold.
Sex.
Nice brunette woman with a flamenco dress. I know that's probably Spanish, but...
Probably a ballroom dress, so a long dress, maybe red.
John Sargent, pulling that girl across the floor.
Like a very kind of red short dress with like high heels and dancing around there with a guy dressed in black.
It's perceived as being very dramatic and almost slightly violent kind of dance. And people don't know about the gentleness and the romance and the kind of tenderness that can be in tango. And also people always imagine that it's steps, choreographed steps, and that you know where you're going. People don't really know about the possibility of the two bodies communicating and agreeing to go together.
Bueno, naturalmente cuando escucho la palabra tango lo primero que me viene a la cabeza es la danza de los argentinos, por lo cual los argentinos son reconocidos mundialmente, el tango.
There's no denying that this side of tango does exist. Tango for tourism and export. If you go to Buenos Aires, it is almost impossible to ignore. When I went, however, I went to learn about a different side of tango, one that I had found in the embrace of a stranger's arms, that has little to do with sex and everything to do with connection. I went to dance at a hospice where they run a tango group for patients of the palliative care unit. And I went to learn more from my teacher, Sebastián de la Ballena.
Hola, chicas.
Enrique Tornu is a small hospital in the suburbs of Buenos Aires. It provides the only 4 beds that exist solely for the use of palliative care in the whole of this sprawling city. The tango classes have been running for around 3 years and began on the initiative of a terminally ill patient who wanted to learn the dance so strongly associated with her homeland. The tango classes at the hospice are open not only to patients, but also to patients' families, friends, and any of the doctors and nurses who work at the hospital. It provides a kind of levelling space where everyone is on equal terms and able to participate without their usual day-to-day roles, providing a mode of communication through the embrace and the shared experience and cultural history of the music and the dance.
Seguimos la idea de respirar, las articulaciones relajadas y poder fijar adentro, todo adentro está bien fuerte.
Communication and the tango dance is so subtle. It's similar to being like a sail or a boat when you're between the wind and the waves because you're going towards your partner and you're going with the movement and you're like something taut between these two different directions.
Como a la vez está todo demasiado blando, es problemática la conexión y se pierde mucha energía en tu cuerpo. Entonces,
The embrace is the significant and powerful distinguishing feature of Argentine tango as opposed to other forms of partner dancing. It is this embrace that Carmen, the coordinator at the hospice, says is what makes tango work so well in this context. It is also this embrace that caused me to fall in love with the dance form and want to understand it better. The embrace is a space of negotiation and coming together. You have to be generous, learn to give and to receive to make the dance work. The immediacy of this physical contact brings you into the present moment, leaving trails of where you've been, but never anticipating what is to come. Touch is as important as breathing. The tango embrace is a way to give and receive intimate touch in a context that is allowed and safe. The embrace can bridge the gap between young and old, or health and illness. Although you might not know it until you start looking, but almost every city will have its own tango subculture. Oxford is no different, and there is a community of people here that dance Argentine tango as a social dance, not for show or display, but for the coming together and the inner experience of the improvised dancing.
The sensation that you get when you're having a really wonderful dance is the sensation of being really together with your partner and a real close connection and a link. It becomes almost like a trance. You do start floating and just knowing the music really becomes part of what you're feeling and everything.
You can see two people that are completely and utterly connected and they're making up and improvising on the spot. That is where you can see the enjoyment and the pleasure, and it's not about what they're doing, it's how they're doing it. The connection and the constant variety, if you don't use the way that you can explore numerous movements. How I've learned tango and how I've been taught the tango, it isn't steps and sequences, but it's been sort of an organic tango that constantly evolves and develops, and you might be dancing with the same individual and you'll to the same piece of music but on a different day in a different mood, and the dance will turn out completely differently.
It's odd, I think as a leader the first years are just hell, and then there were a few moments when I kind of felt the connection to another dancer, but I think to begin with I just found that kind of weird and a bit overpowering.
Yeah.
To be connected. I mean, it was fine obviously with Katja because
Sure.
we were married.
Yeah.
But we didn't have much teaching that focused on the connection until quite late on. So it's not. I mean, it's kind of something you kind of stumble into and have to deal with yourself if it's not kind of explicitly there in the lessons.
Why we started organising tango was because we wanted to create a safe and friendly social space where people can be just as they want to be and can open up and feel that that they're not going to be judged in either way or judged in any way really, and just can have this encounter with other people.
People who often see each other, but only in that context. They often don't know much about each other, and yet they share something quite personal and intimate, and that seems to be a very good space for people. Like, we need to have our close friends who know our families and we talk about everything with, but we also need to have people who accept us without knowing too much about us and can just share something in a different kind of way.
At Tornu, those that cannot dance listen and watch, drink mate and even sing. It is a social occasion as much as a class. I was lucky enough to experience this and was warmly accepted by the group, who taught me much more than just to dance. They taught me that being present is the most important gift you can give someone. Argentine tango was our shared language with which to express a multitude of experiences.
Otra vez zapatito por aquí.